Hello guys, bringing you another Total War Warhammer Online Ranked Battle. Today I will be playing as Bretonnia, and this is Alberic de Bordelot on his pimpin' ass hippogriff. I really like the faction Bretonnia because there's a lot of amazing colour and a lot of amazing crests and ornate armour because they're based on chivalric medieval France, which was a cool time period for knightliness and, you know, war and such. He's backed up by a paladin on a Pegasus, also a very cool looking unit. For my main line I have foot squires. These are great sword wielding, armour piercing, armoured infantry. Chose these guys because I expected my opponent to bring a large contingent of black orcs, which most orc players do. Here we have the essential frontline peasant mob meat shield. You know how it is, you know, send in the peasants. These boys are probably going to be getting eviscerated. I'm talking exploded, decapitated, whatever else you want to say. Here we have the backbone of any Bretonnian army, any good Bretonnian army, and that is the cavalry. One unit of Knights Errant. Very cool looking unit with lots of colourful shields, really cool banners, and just amazing colour. Part of the reason I really love Bretonnia as a faction. With them we have 2 units of questing knights. These are great sword wielding shock cavalry. Also awesome looking, armor piercing, damage dealing shock cavalry. And they got a little bit of a book on the back if you want to have a read. With them we have 1 unit of Grail Knights. These are some of the more powerful cavalry that Bretonnia can field. They've got amazing ornate armour, really cool colourful capes. Just a wicked all-round unit. And really high stats. Really good sustained fighting and search. My opponent is bringing 4 units of Orc boys for his front line, which was a bit of a surprise to me because I expected him to bring Black Orcs. These guys obviously aren't as powerful, but they'll do alright for themselves. Behind them we have some stankin' ass dribbling trolls, which I'm sure will make a meal out of some peasants in the coming battle. An Orc shaman who has some very powerful spells, including the Foot of Gork, which you'll see later. Some Night Goblin archers who are probably hidden at the moment. They're going to be peppering me with arrows and being a nuisance. And he's got 2 units of Savage Orc Biggins. Really cool looking unit with war paint. They're frenzied, damage dealing orcs. And then behind them, or next to them actually, you have 1 unit of Black Orcs, which are, in my opinion, one of the coolest looking units in the game. Absolute badass, super armoured, armour piercing, damage dealing, immune to psychology. They're a terrifying prospect for anyone to have to face. For his leadership he has gone with Skarsnik, the Warlord of 8 Peaks, who's a Night Goblin boss with his squig called Gobbler. Unusual choice. And he has a small contingent of Night Goblins. These are the 8 Peak Loonies, who are unbreakable, so they're going to be fighting to the last gobbo, doing Skarsnik proud. So whilst all this has been happening, he has flanked around his cavalry force, which consists of 2 units of Orc Boar Boy Biggins. Try and say that 10 times in a row. Orc Boar Boy Biggins. And this is the regiment of renown called the Broken Tusks Mob. Very cool looking, armoured boars and all that business. They're backed up by a normal unit of Orc Boar Boy Biggins. And then 1 unit of Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers, who are poisoned skirmisher cavalry, as in they fire poisoned arrows and have poisoned melee attacks from these spiders who are dribbling. Very nice. And they're just going to be harassing me and being a nuisance. And they're hidden at the moment as well, which is good for them. So I saw what he was doing, and I brought my few units of my cavalry out to counter it. Unfortunately, my Grail Knights here are walking, or they're trapped in the army, so they don't get there quite quick enough. And these Knights Errant are about to take quite a lot of shock damage. So here we go, we've got a cool cavalry engagement incoming. So my Knights Errant actually take a huge amount of damage off of that charge, whereas the Broken Tusk mob do alright. They don't take too much at all. And they're supported by these guys. But then we get a rear charge by the Grail Knights, which is going to even the playing field a little bit. But I mean, the damage these Knights Errant took, they're just going to rout off the bat. Really, really brutal for them. The Grail Knights, however, are a little bit stronger. Unfortunately, these annoying little goblins are shooting them in the back, but they're not too bothered. They're going to pretty much wipe the floor with these guys. So I realised these two units weren't going to be enough to win this engagement, so I brought in some questing knights who are going to definitely help wrap things up and finish the fight. Really good thing to be able to get the cavalry superiority early on. It means that mine can now freely move around the battlefield, and I don't have to worry about any rear charges. Try and chase these guys down with the Grail Knights, but I realise they're just going to be too fast. They're just going to kite me. So instead, bring in Alberic and the Paladin, and they're going to run them off the field. So just mopping up the last of these Orc boars so that they don't come back. Alberic's going to catch a couple of these guys here. Yes, don't go anywhere. But they're still just going to be annoying and peppering him, and Paladin's going to have a crack as well. Getting a few kills, but obviously can't afford to have my leader and my hero chasing them the entire time. So I'm going to pull Alberic back to the main fight and leave the Paladin to deal with these guys, and he's going to do a good job of chasing them down. These guys are just going to kill this last Orc boar boy. Don't know why. They're shattered, which means they're not coming back, but I thought kill them anyway. So these guys are going to be set up outside the swamp so that they don't suffer a movement penalty. Going to have a little read break, you know, read your mate's book in front, see what you think. And we're preparing for the main engagement. Here come the Orcs. Quite a cool battlefield. I like the sort of colours, you know, really cool looking. I think these are like wisps of magic. Oh no, they're souls. Didn't realise this is full of bodies. Obviously it's full of bodies. It's Warhammer Fantasy. Everyone's battling everywhere all the time. I'm sure that you can barely walk in this universe without treading on a body. Oh, I forgot to mention I've got a Grail Reliquary here, which is one of the most ridiculous looking units I've seen in this game. It consists of 3 dudes carrying a makeshift horse with a horse head that they animate themselves to ding the bell. And strapped up top is a dead knight who has this hilarious flopping animation because he's just sort of strapped there. Don't think it's that dignified for him, but provides a leadership boost to my troops nonetheless. And you can just see here, look at the aftermath of this cavalry battle. There's just corpses everywhere. It was a brutal start. So here I see an opportunity for just an early charge to soften up the Orc boys as they come in. Skarsnik fires a very well hit missile, which does a lot of damage to my questing knights. These guys take a big charge, but then I pull them out and they're sort of seen off by these trolls, who unfortunately get a few of them, as does Gobbler, hopping along. So it didn't actually do that much damage to the Orc boars. I thought it was going to be a bit better, but oh well. The knights are going to line up on the hills, ready to watch the fight. Alberic's above the troops, and here we go. Here's the main engagement coming up. We'll watch the peasants, because I think they have the funnest time of everyone. Armed with pitchforks and hoes, they're going to do their liege proud. Here we go. And they thought that was the worst of it, but here come the trolls, and they're going to be like, excuse me boys, can we just get in here? Just to mangle everyone. So what I've done here is immediately I've set Alberic on Skarsnik, because Skarsnik's unsupported, and I'm pretty sure this little gobbo Night Goblin and his squig aren't going to be able to defeat the Duke of Bretonnia on his flying monster. We're going to get the first big charge of the battle. Questing Knights into the back of these Orc boys. I see a lot of blood. That's always a good thing. And the Grail Knights here are going to try and countercharge these savage Orc boys just to support their lord. These guys do quite well against cavalry though, so it's not an engagement that I want to stay in for too long with my cav. But they've given me just enough time to rout Skarsnik off the field. So we'll pop in and have a look at the fight. See what's going on. Don't know if the peasants are still here. No, they are breaking, but I mean they did good. I'm proud of them. And this is what you get when you fight against trolls. They're vomiting on you, kicking you in the nuts. And then I'm sure some of them as well will pick you up and smash you to pieces. So Skarsnik's just died, which is a huge hit to their leadership and a real positive for me. Alberic can take to the skies once again. And this guy here is casting something. It's Fists of Gork. But we're just going to gang up on him with our shaman here. Do a lot of damage. These Night Goblin archers thought they'd get away with without a scratch, but no, the Grail Knights are going to come and give them a nice little charge there. And at this point I was going to hammer and anvil these Savage Orcs again, but other than this guy, who didn't get the memo but still does a good job, I decided to pull them round because they're much more effective against these Black Orcs with all their armour, and they give them a really nice, strong hammer and anvil there, and start going to work with their greatswords, piercing the armour of the Orcs and doing a lot of damage. Really nice charge here again from the Grail Knights, who are just going to make a meal of the Orc boys, because the Orc boys can't stand up to that. So everyone's just pitched in now, battling. Alberic's just doing a good job of getting rid of the Orc leadership. He's going to kill that shaman. The peasants have come back, which I must say is a surprise. I wonder if they get any kills. Are you kidding me? Did they just kill? They are doing a fantastic job. Tell me they're getting the kills. Should we have a look at how many kills they got actually? 3 kills, and I'm proud of them. 3 kills. Let's see how many kills, say, the Grail Knights have. 115. Okay. Well, you can't ask for more than that out of a peasant mob. 3 kills. They turned up. They tried their hardest. Award for participation. The last Grail Knight here is just on his own, still bravely fighting against these trolls, but unfortunately I think he's going to bite it there, yep. Savage. Some Orc contingent trying to sort of come back and salvage the fight, but it's not happening for them, is it? I get my questing knights free here and I can finally deal with these annoying forest goblins, which they will do quite swiftly. Yep, look, they're having none of it. They are out of there. Meanwhile, the paladin is just dealing with some of these night goblins, which I'm sure is not a hard task for him to do. And Alberic's finished off that Orc Shaman. Yep, finished off that Orc Shaman. So the only pocket of resistance we've got left now is these fanatic goblins, and they're about to have a bad day. I can tell you that. Boom. But they're not bothered. I mean, they're probably a little bit shaken by that. They just watched about 10 of their mates explode. And the Hippogriff is just going to literally use its talons to destroy them. But that one just killed a foot squire before getting exploded. Good on him, I say. So yeah, a couple goblins left. Probably not for much longer. So yeah, I thought I'd upload this battle because there's a lot of hard-hitting charges, a lot of, you know, cool sort of battle cinematic stuff. And I haven't uploaded one as Bretonnia yet, and they're a really cool faction to play as. And I really like them in Total War Warhammer. I think that they're an interesting sort of option, you know, to have such a traditional, normal style of army in a fantasy game. And it really keeps, it's really the heart and soul of Total War, because Total War obviously was traditional historical titles for so long, and they just fit so well into that. You know, if you want to see what it would be like to drop a load of monsters and magic into medieval Europe, then, you know, there you go. So if you enjoyed the content, comment and like and subscribe and let me know. And if you want me to make any more content, if there's any sort of army builds you want to see, or anything else, then, you know, pop me a message and let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed fighting it. Peace out until next time, guys.